if there is one question that I get asked the most in the comments below, it would be something like, hey, you questionable Asian YouTuber, what kind of earbud or headphone would you recommend I buy so that I can prematurely destroy my hearing? Well, I don't usually jump right in saying you need a Sony or a Sennheiser or an Apple or whatever, because I believe it's more important to focus on the fundamentals rather than trying to push or sell a particular brand. So today is your lucky day, my friends, for I've decided to do a brain dump of sorts, or a buyer's guide if you may, of things to look out for and pay attention to when it comes to researching or shopping for a brand new pair of headphones or earbuds in 2022. If you understand some, if not all of these basics that I'm about to talk about, your ears, your heart, your head, and your wallet will thank you. I guarantee it. Actually, no, I don't. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, let's get to it. The first thing to put on your checklist is an easy one, and probably also the very first consideration to make, which is, what is your budget and how much are you willing to spend? And also, do the earbuds or headphones that you're looking at offer what you need for the money and your budget? And also, what is your purchasing style? Like, are you usually willing to wait for sales? Or do you like to buy things off the cuff, straight hot off the presses, regardless of whether you have enough money left over afterwards to pay for rent? And the other related aspect to add to the checklist as well is, what are you using the headphone or earbud for? Is it for work, for gaming, working out, for traveling, or for commuting, or a little bit of everything? So once you've figured out what your price range is and the user case, you'll have a better idea of how to proceed. In case you've been living under a bridge, humans are created with ears of all shapes and sizes, and some don't even have physical ears. That's a fact. And I don't mean teenagers either, because they don't seem to hear anything at all. But your ears, I'll tell you what guys, will dictate what kind of ear cups or ear tips you need. For earbuds, they are round ear tips and oval ear tips, and for headphones, they are what they call on the ear as well as over the ear types, as well as those that sit on your temple through bone conduction. If you can, go to a physical store or buy from a place with an excellent return policy and try out your top picks, especially for fit and comfort. Alright, this next one is a tough one, but I want to lay down the groundwork first. Sound quality is truly subjective, and you're probably saying, well, then how am I going to pick the right one? Well, it's not as bad as it sounds, because there are some givens, especially from the technical standpoint. So generally, larger drivers, or some of you may call them speakers, are better, but again, they're not necessarily a guarantee of good sound. The other thing is tuning, and each manufacturer or brand has their preferred way of setting things up, kind of like their own secret sauce. For example, Sony's tend to have a warmer, fuller sound, which is great for jazz and orchestras, while Jabras tune theirs to be more technical with sharper mids and highs, which is great for pop and rap. Another thing I also want to add is, with wired devices, if you go that route, tend to sound superior to wireless Bluetooth, so take that in mind. Closely related to SQ is what they call audio codecs, or basically protocols that translate your music or audio files digitally from your source to your headphones or your earbuds. The minimum nowadays that I look out for is AAC, SBC, and some kind of aptX. Some products out there still eschew aptX for some reason, but I can let that slide if their sound is truly awesome. Now, I will say, and I want you to take note of this, that even if your headphone has codecs like up the wazoo, the stopgap boils down to your streaming device, which is usually your phone or maybe your laptop. Because even if your headphone is certified to play like high-res, lossless, better, more than CD quality files, doesn't mean your phone or PC can if you're doing Bluetooth. So my point is, don't expect miracles if you pay like $5,000 for a gold-plated wireless device with LDAC or aptX HD when your source is barely pushing out the necessary kilobits per second to even qualify as high-res. Many earbuds and headphones nowadays have companion apps that give you more control and customization over your device. But the truth is, you really don't have to install them if you don't want to, guys. The device will still work as it should, and the controls will continue to function as they were designed. I understand that some of you prefer not to have yet another app to deal with on your phone in terms of like privacy and security. Myself though, I tend to like companion apps because it allows for firmware updates, which means manufacturers can push out fixes whenever problems arise, and sometimes you might even get new features. It'll be like Christmas all over again. I'll tell you what, battery tech has advanced enough that I can comfortably recommend someone to pick up pretty much any earbud or headphone on the market, even the cheapest, dinkiest, most questionable ones on Amazon. That's how far in advance they've become. But for headphones, generally you want to look for something with 30 to 40 hours of listening time, so that means that can get you past pretty much an entire week of listening without you worrying about charging. Earbuds, minimum you should look for is 4 to 5 hours, and when they do run low, all you have to do is pop them back in the case and you'll be up and running pretty quickly, especially if there's fast charging. Another feature that's quite the fad this past decade is wireless or Qi charging, and this is found mostly on earbuds more so than headphones. But if you do have something like, say, the Urbanista Los Angeles with its solar panels at the top here, you never really have to worry about running out of juice at all, unless, you live in a cave or something. When it comes to controls, i.e. how you interact with your earbud or your headphone, you have two flavors to choose from, either physical buttons or knobs, or touch controls. Sometimes you might find a hybrid of that, but most of the time it's one or the other. So the question to ask yourself though in this case is, do you like tactility and a higher activation success rate? If the answer is yes, then real buttons are your thing. But if you like your earbuds or your headphones to have a clean look, then by all means go with touch or gesture controls. Now, as a side note, Sony's recent Link Buds introduced a really cool take on touch controls in which you basically tap your temple to control the earbuds through vibration. I'd personally like to see more of this kind of thing implemented by other brands because nothing shouts crazy person like someone tapping their skull furiously on the train. Like, nope, louder, nope, I don't like this, go back. That was bad. Jeez. You might have noticed that I haven't yet said anything about mod cons like active noise cancellation, pass-through, otherwise known as transparency mode, low latency gaming, or even multi-point Bluetooth connectivity. And the reason for that is because all of these things can get complicated really fast, so I'm putting this all together and I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. So if you want to isolate yourself from external noise, active or hybrid noise cancellation is what to look out for. Transparency modes are usually paired with noise cancellation, but sometimes they also live on their own. If you like gaming, a headphone or earbud with low latency modes can really make all the difference in terms of when you press a button and how quickly it responds or reflects on the screen, at the expense of battery life, of course. If you want to, say, like listen to your tunes on your phone one moment and then seamlessly switch to a Zoom call on your laptop, then multi-point is what you want to get. Weight and size is often overlooked when buying earbuds and headphones, and this is closely related to comfort and fit. But all these things can truly be deal breakers, especially if you can't wear your brand new device for a decent amount of time without hurting your ears, or you have a giant bulge in your pants because the case is too big, or get this, heavy earbuds can also cause inflammation. So that's definitely not good. I normally look at durability in two ways. First of all is looking at the IP water dust protection rating, like how much water, sweat, and dust exposure can the device withstand. And the other one is build quality or general build quality, like do the surfaces withstand abuse and scratches and smudges and such like that? How tight are the seams are, like when I stretch out the headband like this, do they still stay tight, for example? And finally, we come to the look and the design of the device, because as they say, guys, beauty is in the eye of the tiger. Oh, no, that's not how it goes. Eye of the beholder? What in the world is a beholder? Isn't that like a monster from Dungeons and Dragons? You can Google it. Tell me if I'm wrong. But anyways, I digress. Where was I? Oh yes, looks are subjective. That's what it is. So at the end of the day, you might end up buying something just based on looks alone. And I hope that's not the case, because otherwise this entire video was pointless. So with all that said, this is definitely not an exhaustive checklist, but a lot of these things we've talked about today are from my experiences with buying and reviewing so many headphones and earbuds, it's not even funny. And it's cool that I've been able to have all these opportunities over the years, learn from my mistakes, and then now I'm able to share it with you, hopefully to help you out. And if you found this buyer's guide helpful, please feel free to share it. Subscribe to GearUp too if you'd like to see more videos like this, helping to get to 25,000 subs. And also remember to thumbs up if you like this video and comment nicely down below. And remember to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world out there, because guess what? The world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you. I love y'all so much, and I hope to see you next time. Peace out and God bless.